Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. As promised, I have for you today part 2 of my Psycho X. My Psycho X. This isn't as long, this section. A lot of it was in the first one. If you haven't already watched the first one, pop over to that video, which I will leave a link to here or here. And maybe watch that one first, so this one makes more sense. It's up to you. Thank you again to all of my new subscribers. Welcome, hi, hello everybody, and thank you again to my original subscribers who have stuck with me and put up with me. Thank you so much. Now on today's story time. If you remember, in the last one, I had to come up with a name because I obviously couldn't use the name of the guy. So I randomly picked a name and I called him Steve. That was a name that wasn't related to anyone I know. Of course, I have known Steves in my life, not just one. The name was picked out of the blue. I'm going to do the same when I come to the name for this, because I told you this involved his stepsister. So I'm going to use the name I have thought out, which is Hannah. I don't think I know any Hannahs. Disclaimer before we go any, I'm so sorry people about this, but you would not believe, you just would not believe. Okay, the names in this video have nothing to do with anybody else. The names are fictional apart from mine. The name Steve is fictional. I don't know a Steve. I have known Steves, but this Steve is a name for my ex that I've made up. The next disclaimer, I'm so sorry, next disclaimer I want to make is, if you are sensitive to any issues about emotional abuse, physical abuse, then I suggest you click off now, because this story and the last one are pretty much about that. Okay, this story involves my tale about my experience with my ex, as I called it, one of the worst, if not the worst, toxic relationship I have ever had. This is my story, these are my feelings. Okay, the reason I'm going to stick with the fictional name I've already created, which is Steve, is because I don't want to confuse you guys anymore. I'm sure you're already confused. Okay, fictional, made up names. Now that's clear. Okay, where do we go? Bear with me one second, because I don't want to go, you know, I go so far off track, you know what I'm like? Let's go to the wedding. Let's go to the wedding. I know this is jumping straight back in. It'll make more sense again if you watch the other video. So, he, as you know, he proposed, and then we went together to our local register office to book the wedding. It was going to be a small wedding, nothing serious, nothing large, because, well, we'd both been married before. I don't know. We didn't really want to make a huge thing of it. It was supposed to be a relatively small wedding. And bear in mind, he's still not living with me now. He's moved out. He's actually moved twice. He's now in a flat around the corner from me. I don't know why. Red flag. In my head, I'm thinking, I suppose I wasn't thinking, but now I'm thinking, if you weren't living together, how, which we were, and then we weren't, how were you going ahead with the wedding? I don't know. I know I'm stupid. I know. We went ahead, you know, we've been together like 3 years at this point, and we went ahead, they were on and off, honestly, but I mean, when I say on and off, I mean, he was toxic. He would stay in and get absolutely wasted in this flat around the corner. I'd be so worried about him falling down the stairs to his flat or injuring himself like he had done many times before. So, you know, I'd go around, check up on him, and isn't hindsight a great thing? Isn't it a great thing when you can look back and think, oh my gosh, you were so dumb. You were so dumb, this all makes sense. So I'd often go around, he'd shout out his bedroom window looking so hungover. I'm fine. I'm like, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Are you sure? He's like, yeah, wouldn't buzz me up. I'm his girlfriend, fiance for 3 years. Let's get back to the wedding. I've got all my bridesmaids' dresses for my kids, even though it was a small wedding. You know, they're still excited. They're very small. They're excited about being bridesmaids. I've got my wedding dress. I'd done my pre-trial for my wedding hair. Everything was ready to go. And I got a text days before the wedding saying, I'm trying to be factual now, saying I can't go through with it. Now, he's done things like this before to me. Not that like this, but just things like, it was always around holidays and things where he'd just create an argument and deliberately create an argument and then go off to his flat and then sulk for 2 days and then come back all, oh, I love you so much, oh, forgive me, oh, I'm sorry. So honestly, it crushed me, but I thought, he's just having one of his tantrums. I don't know what's up with him. He's having, I mean, who even wants to marry someone like that anyway? It's such a dodged bullet. I can't even, I'm sure you know that by listening, but wow. It's hindsight, isn't it? Because I'm thinking back to how to, there's more I'm going to tell you about this sister. Should we get onto that? Should we get onto the sister bit? So that, let's leave that there for a minute. Just drop a pin in that, because that was pretty much where it ended. So we will go back to that. It kind of, he texts me, can't go through with this, finished. And believe me, it was finished. I got told via text. Okay, imagine breaking that to your little girls and their bridesmaids. Anyway, let's just jump all the way back a minute. Again, this name is totally made up. It's, did I say Hannah? Hannah? Hannah. Okay, we're just double checking. I don't want anyone taking personal offense to anything. So Hannah, I'm sorry if you know a Hannah. I don't know a Hannah. Hannah is his stepsister. So when we're together, this is significant because this is messed up. So when we're together, even from the offset, his phone would go all hours of the night. And he'd be like, oh, it's my sister. She's had an argument with her boyfriend. I was like, oh, wow. And at first I just presumed they were full sister-brother. But not that it matters. I was like, oh, wow. Is she okay? Da-da-da. And it went on like that. And then after a few months, 8 months into a relationship, I noticed the phone stopped going at night. I was like, do you still, how's things with Hannah? Is she okay? Bear in mind, I never met her. And in this time, I'd found out, oh, she's my half-sister. I'm like, oh, okay. I just presume same mum, different dad. I don't know. I guess I should have asked more, but I've met his parents, but you don't really, I don't know. I just didn't really go in. We just didn't go into it. We'd spoke about Hannah, so I knew Hannah was real. I knew she was a sister, but I didn't know to what degree. So it turns out Hannah was the daughter of Steve's mother. Steve is a fictional Steve. Steve is my fake ex. I can't say his name. So Steve's mother had married a man when she was older, and he had grown daughters, and one of them was called Hannah. Are you with me? I'll say it one more time, not because I think you're stupid, but because it's confusing. So Steve, my ex, his mother had married, when they were much older, a guy who had grown daughters, one of which was named Hannah. So they didn't grow up together as children, nothing like that. And I remember finding this out one day, and I don't remember how or when or when. I was like, oh. And I just sort of remember in the back of my head thinking, oh, she's not your sister at all then. I remember saying to him, so you're not actually related at all? He went, no, not by blood. And I went, you didn't grow up together, no? And he went, oh, no, I've met her a few times. I'm like, oh. And then I'm thinking, but he's got more than one daughter, his stepdad. Steve's stepdad's got more than one. And I'm thinking, well, that's odd, because you don't. So why don't you speak to the other one that much? He said, oh, I don't know, we're not close. No, I didn't think much of it. I thought, okay. But you know, and you got that voice in the back of your head, and you're like, technically, she's just another woman. But there's that rational part of you, like a rational human, where you think, yeah, but they've got to treat each other like brother and sister, surely, even though they didn't. Their parents are married. She's married, come on. Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? So one day we're out in the car, and his phone goes off, and he gets those banners on it. And at this point, his phone's locked down tight. I could never go into his phone. He had a banner. I don't know why. Was it a banner or was it missed call? The missed call, that was it. He's in the garage. His phone's there, I'm in the car, and I see she's ringing because her name comes up, and I don't answer it. And then a banner comes up. Now, just before this, say 3 days prior, me and Phil had broke up again. We weren't talking. So I was like, I just said his name. Sorry, he's going to have to quack that out. I just said his name, his real name. Me and Steve weren't talking. This is so hard. Me and Steve weren't talking. Well, we weren't talking. He'd fallen out with me again for Lord only knows what reason. I know now, but didn't know then. And that, yeah, so we just kind of got back together. How childish does that all sound? But it really was all him. It really was all him storming off and, oh, I'm not. But, you know, that's just, it was just a toxic relationship. So anyway, the phone goes off. I'm like, didn't answer it. She's obviously thinking, oh, I'm in the clear to ring him whenever because they've broken up. Now it makes sense. Then a message pops up. Ha ha, I knew you'd take her back. And I see that on the banner of the... Guys and girls, if you're with me right now, just take a deep breath. Because at this point, I'm like, sorry, what? Sorry, what? I now know she doesn't like me for some reason. They've been talking a lot while we've been broken up, and wires, like, you know, imagine you're in my position. So he gets back in the car and I confront him. I say, called you. He's like, yeah. And I went, and the message was, haha, knew you'd take them back. And he went, I spoke to her on the weekend, and I was like, right, okay. And I let him talk me into it just being him bad mouthing me while he was drunk, and there was nothing more to it. Cut to a few weeks later. Now I'm suspicious. Cut to a few weeks later. Now I've already found this girl on Facebook just to see. Don't lie to me and tell me you wouldn't do it, because you would. You would. I know you would. So I find her on Facebook, and I'm like, wow. Oh, wow. Her husband looks really handsome as well. Much better looking than Steve. Much better looking than him. And I'm thinking, wow, they seem like really happily married. And yeah, maybe I'm being paranoid, whatever. You know, didn't send her a friend. Just, you know, we all keep an eye on our enemies. I know you do. So then a few weeks later, in true form, he literally fell comatose on a Sunday daytime in my lounge. And he was getting text messages through, but I don't know why this reason. I can't remember why he either left his phone open. I don't remember how I ended up looking at his phone. Obviously, I've gone to go through it, but why it was open or how I got into it, I can't remember. And my word, the texts that I read. These two, I was certain at this point, had been having an affair. Stepsister, my backside. And I just went straight onto Facebook and I messaged her and I said, listen, I know, you know I'm engaged to marry. Said his name again. This is... Sorry. What was I saying?
Steve.
What about Steve? I've lost my train of thought. It's so hard.
You found her? Oh, no, you messaged her.
Oh, that's right. On Facebook. Sorry, on Facebook. On Facebook, I messaged her. Do you know what, guys? I'm going to be real with you because I'm struggling right now, and I like to be nothing but real with you guys. I'm struggling because I'm just going off the story for a minute. I've had a pretty bizarre 24 hours, and as I'm sure you've detected during the storytelling time and my intro, I've had some, what's the word? Some negative feedback, bizarre negative feedback over this video. And I considered not doing a part 2 today. I actually considered not doing it. And then I thought, no, I'm going to do it because I know. And here's the thing. The people who are not happy about it, it has nothing to do with them. They're not involved in this in any way, shape or form. And it's making me rethink everything I'm saying and being super careful, and it's kind of throwing me off my story time. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's get back into it. It's not going to stop me. You guys came here for a story and I'm going to give you one. Okay, so I went onto the internet. I went onto Facebook and I found this girl and I messaged her and I said, I know that you're having an affair with Steve and your husband. Oh, I remember his real name, so I have to think of a name for him as well. I know your husband, Terence, that's picked out of the blue. I know your husband Terence, and I will tell him what's going on. It is disgusting, it's wrong, and all the rest of it. And she came back to me, didn't even deny it. She didn't even deny it. Now, Steve doesn't even know I know yet. She didn't even deny it. She said it was a long time ago. We're just mostly friends now. I'm like, well, it's sick. It's sick. I know you're not blood, but it's sick and it's twisted. And you knew about me and you didn't care. I read those messages. You didn't care that we were engaged to be married. Now, look, it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault. It was her fault she was cheating on her husband. But it was Steve's fault, my ex, that he was cheating on me, of course. You can't always blame the woman. You just can't. So, the next day, I open up. She'd obviously contacted him. He was furious with me. And because I was like that, I'm like, well, I saw this and then and he was like, he threw a hissy fit. Can you believe he threw a hissy fit? And I was like, wow, this is so wrong. He's like, she's lying. We were friends and she's relied on me so much. I said, but she told me you had an affair. And he's like, no, she's lying. And I said, well, that's not what she's saying. Why would she lie? She has no reason to lie whatsoever. So they had an affair. And even through that, I don't think the affair was going on at that point. I don't think it was, because she was a long way away. So I really don't think they were. But obviously, I'd still been lied to. The messaging was still going on. I was like, wow. I still decided to make a go of it with this guy. My ex. Steve. I still went ahead and thought it was a good idea to continue on with him. And I did. And the messages carried on. And I just ignored it, with the comfort that I knew they're a long way away and that they can't be having a physical affair. How dumb does a person need to be? And because I've gone off track so much, I don't want to go off track again. That's right. Okay, so now we've... This is kind of boring. Now we kind of go back to where I dropped the pin. So the relationship is like that, on, off, on, off. I'm going around to check on him regularly because he's sleeping in all hours and I know he's been drinking. I'm worried about him because I love him and he's around the corner from me. And the plan was, straight after the wedding, we're going to live together again. I get this text days before the wedding, just saying, wedding's off. I don't want to be with you. I'm like, what? So I text him, like, you owe me at least a phone call. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm trying to get in touch, which I wish I never would have done. Don't ever lower yourself to that point, because you'll regret it. I regret it. I didn't beg or anything, but I went around going, why? I don't understand. I didn't get to see him, didn't get to speak to him. I just get like minimal responses back, not an explanation. And for months, that's how it was. I had to call the registry office because I'd had no contact with him the day before the wedding to check that's how desperate I was, to check he'd actually cancelled the wedding. And they said, they felt so sorry for me. They were like, I'm sorry, yeah, your wedding's cancelled. I said, who cancelled it? And they said, I was like, oh my gosh. I was heartbroken at this point. I'm like, well, obviously I've got to tell them, like, sat my girls down. My boy, I was so angry. Not for me, for them. For them mostly, because I had to tell them they weren't going to be bridesmaids anymore. And it was my fault because I'd made that stupid mistake. I was blinded by love and I made that mistake and I let him run all over me. And I'm over it now. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. We've all been there in some way or another with toxic relationships. I think we've all had them. I certainly know I have. He isn't the only one. But did I learn a lot from that. So that was it. That was it. That was how we ended it. I never knew why, when. So I got my wedding dress in a real classy fashion. I tore it up. I wrote some choice words in black Sharpie all over this beautiful wedding gown. I don't know why I did that. And I hung it on the communal steps to his flats apartment things. I was mad. I was angry. Maybe not was the classiest thing to do, but that's what I did. And I just had to get over it. I just had to get over it. So that is why I started skydiving. That was where I decided I want to be a skydiver. It just was out of the blue. That was how it started. That was what got me back on my feet. That saved my life, was learning to skydive. It really was, because I went into such a horrible depression after that. Not trusting men, not knowing what I'd done, being so stupid, thinking, oh, damage I've done to my children by letting this man into our lives. The children are fine, but still, as a mother, you feel guilt if and when it goes wrong. We're all out here just doing our best as single parents. And after that, I was single for a while. So I'm 8 months in, I'm learning to skydive, I'm having the time of my life. Then I get a text message from him, and I'm like shocked, because I'm over it now. I've been through the hard bit, I'm over it. It's like, can I call? I was purely intrigued. I said, yeah, call. And he says to me, I called because I thought it was the right thing to do. I'm seeing somebody. Now guys, we're talking 8 months later, and I'm like, sorry, what? You're seeing somebody? I don't care. I don't care. So why are you telling me this? He said, no, I was seeing somebody. I'm like, what? You mean you were cheating on me the whole time? Yeah. Ah, right. Well, you think that's a noble thing to do, to tell me now? Why now? Why are you telling me now? I've gone through 8 months of tearing myself apart, asking what was wrong with me, but now you think it's the time to do the right thing and tell me you were having an affair the whole time. So all those times I went round to his apartment, he was shouting out the window, I'm okay. She was in his bed. Not even the stepsister. A random. He was having an affair. It turned out he was having an affair for like a year and a bit. When he first moved out. You know, when you get that hindsight and you're like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I'm thinking, because someone I know who may work somewhere near where he works may have found out or may not have found out. And I'm going to say something here. I don't want any comeback for that. I'm not interested in anyone's opinions from here on in, okay, about this story. Not my viewers, not you lovely guys, not you. So a person may have known a person. Doesn't even make sense saying it like that, does it? And he thought that it was going to get back to me that way. But that isn't how it got back to me. It actually didn't get back to me at all. So he rung up and just told me himself, for Lord knows what reason. Because he was sure I was going to find out because somebody had seen him that I know. Well, that person didn't see him, to my knowledge, and we were broken up anyway. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. I don't know. So that was the last contact I ever had with this guy. No, I didn't leave it there. Then I thought, you know what? And I really did think long and hard before I did this. I really did, I can promise you. Because like I said in that other video, you know, about that Derek guy who was lying, saying it was Alan. Don't know if you watched that one, but it was about his catfish guy on a dating site. And I didn't know whether to tell his wife or not. I was like, oh, I don't know to be the one to break them up. And because you just don't want to be that person. I messaged the husband of the sister. Partly out of anger. It was truth. I only told truth. But partly out of anger. But I was actually really glad I did in the end. Because I told him. And I was thinking, oh, what have I done? Even though it's the truth, what have I done? Should I have done that? He came back to me. He was so lovely, her husband. He said, I'm so glad you contacted me. I think I've known for years. I kind of knew and didn't want to admit it. So he was basically the same as me. He said, I kind of knew. She's had other affairs and I'm done with her. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I even sent that message. My head was in a bad place, even though it's all true. He said, no, I knew. He said, I knew. Deep down, I knew. I knew what Steve was like. And I knew what she was like. And I knew that about the history. I'm like, wow, I am really sorry. And me and this guy ended up, I wouldn't say we're friends, but we ended up being acquaintances. And he was such a lovely guy as well. And that is the end of part 2 of my psycho ex. He was basically just an alcoholic cheater, an abusive alcoholic cheater. I've missed out so much stuff abuse wise because I know that younger people may view this, or my own children may view this, and I don't want them having anything graphic, but there's a lot I've had to leave out. But that's basically the gist of it. I'm sorry guys about the whole the thing about the names and it's just, I think some people are finding it confusing. That I need to stipulate these names were picked off the top of my head, and the disclaimer, I had to put that in because obviously it triggers some people, which is perfectly understandable. If you've been through anything similar, it's perfectly understandable. You're not going to hear this. Thank you for putting up with that, and thank you so much for listening and all of your support. It's insane. And for the hate, keep trying because I'm going to keep going. The unfortunate side of YouTube, hey? But there you go, that's that. I hope you're all well and healthy, and click the bell icon if you haven't subscribed if you're new here, and have a beautiful day. Bye.